Welcome back to TheNosePlays. Tonight we're going to do a little bit of a change up. It's been a long time since I visited Endless Space 2 on the channel. And one of my most viewed videos at this point has been the videos that I did regarding the Umbral Choir, for various reasons. I think one of the nice things about that video is I was one of the very early players to point out a lot of the synergies that I found when I started investigating all of their unique traits. And that was helpful for a lot of people. So even as recently as like last week, I get comments on those videos saying how well done they were. But I have not really revisited the game or the choir since then. And so there's been a lot that has happened since then. A whole new patch has come out with a whole new faction, and we just recently got an update that I finished today, actually, that fixed a lot of bugs in the game and made a few balance changes. The last of a series of patches and bug fixes that Amplitude was trying to get out to us. So it's a good time to go ahead and jump back in and take a look at the choir and see if what I remember from my early strategies is still something that's good to use. So that's what we're going to be doing tonight. And I have no idea how long this video is going to be. It could be very long, but it's probably going to be a one-off. We'll see. If I don't get far enough, I might actually make it a two-parter. But I want to see if we can get to the points in the game where I got before, and that took like 3 videos. So we'll see if we can maybe do it a little faster. If you haven't already watched my 2 sets of Umbral Choir videos, I made one initial video, and then I think I made like 3 or 4 follow-up videos regarding a strategy that I had kind of come up with when they first came out. So let's go ahead and start a new game, and hopefully we get a good map and some good positioning. The way that you play the choir can really change depending on who's around you and what the logistics of the situation are, like how crowded is your constellation, how close are you to people that might engage with you in a more aggressive way versus a more passive way. So all those factors can influence the game quite a bit. One of the things that I was interested in figuring out is what are the best ways to deal with the issues that you tend to have in the mid to late game, specifically with manpower. It becomes very difficult to build up a fleet that's even remotely dangerous. Ooh, this is interesting. Due to a lack of manpower. So just gotta remember how to control this. Okay, there we go. I haven't played on the donut map in a while, actually. This could be interesting for us. It's going to minimize the number of players that we're going to have direct contact with, but it's going to basically guarantee that we're sandwiched between 2 players for sure. So there's going to be a player over here and there's going to be a player over here, roughly speaking. So depending on who our neighbors are, that can have a real big impact on our gameplay. Our hero, let's take a look at our hero. What I remember about the hero specifically is that they were pretty much going to be assigned to our one and only civilization for the long haul. You do want to assign him as a scout initially because you can level him up really, really fast. But let's see if any of his abilities change. So he gets free influence on system or free health on a fleet. We won't be using the health on fleet hardly at all. It's pretty irrelevant in the early game due to the fact that all of your ships gain the stealth mechanic. A level 1 stealth is inherent in all of your ship designs, even ships that you inherit from other factions. So yeah, we're going to have a lot of stealth. We're going to be able to avoid most combat when we want to, and that's really good for us in the early game. One thing that did really stand out to me was this ability. This ability is actually quite powerful, and one that you'll probably want to level up early on this character if you do decide to put him as a full-time governor. And the reason for that is our system starts with a lot of planet/nexi, and they are all sterile, or at least they have been in the past. They're always a sterile system, so you get like 4 or 5 of them, and that basically ensures that you're going to get a lot of extra gold by leveling this up. So 40 or 50 extra gold every single turn, or dust, I guess. I use the right terminology here. We're playing an amplitude game. No more gold, it's dust. But yeah, we're going to get a lot of dust and a lot of work out of this, especially with the strategy that I plan to implement. Other abilities of note, extra bandwidth can be very helpful. And bandwidth does, when it's unused, increase our manpower generation, so that's good. And then this ability, we're going to have a pretty large population. Hopefully very, very soon, we're going to focus on food early on. And so this will definitely be more beneficial as our population grows. The other abilities are pretty much moot, because we're never going to leave him as a commander of a fleet. It just doesn't make any sense to do that. So that's basically what I remember about that. So that seems to be the same. Let's close that and take a look at his ship. So one of the things that you can do, and I'm not sure why it's not showing up here, but there is an upkeep cost to this ship, and the upkeep cost is increased based on the number of modules that your ships have. At least that's how it used to be. So essentially what we could do is, since we have no plans to get into combat, we can just remove all of that. Double engines gives me a movement of 8. And I can go double probes, or I can go triple engines and get to a movement of 11. The upgrade cost for that is 58. Before I do that, we're going to go ahead and close the design. His ship must not have an upkeep cost. It must just be related to that. I don't know. I'll have to look at that. So yeah, that's fine. We'll come back to this in a minute. But the main thing that I want to remember there is I have a movement maximum of around 11 or 8, depending on how I spec out his ship. Eden Instance is going to be probably...
A traveler of the...
Yeah, we'll get rid of that. Eden Instance is going to be our... this is really annoying. I'm really used to using the middle mouse button to drag and move my screen in a few things that I'm playing right now. So you'll have to just bear with me here. Okay. So what do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we do have 5. We start with 1. And it looks like most of these have... Okay. All kinds of anomalies. This also makes any buildings or characters that interact with anomalies very valuable. They're all cold and they're all sterile, and that is still the same, so nothing's changed there. Your starting system always gives you 2 pore deposits, 1 glass steel and 1 titanium, and we get our 2 population to start with. Most of the other factions start with more population than 2, I believe. So that's interesting. And then you have the option to increase the size of each of these. So each one of these can grow in size depending on how many times you want to level this up. I forget how many tiers there are, but there are quite a few tiers. The first tier, as you can see, increases the gathering rates of our 2 population by very small amounts in industry, science, and influence, which is okay. And it also increases the population cap by 1 to 5, where right now it's 4. And I believe they all default to 4. So, this is a trap. You definitely, in my opinion, unless something has dramatically changed, and if I notice it, I'll point it out, but so far I'm not seeing it, you don't want to be upgrading these very quickly. In fact, it's one of the very last things that you ever want to do in this system, and only when you basically run out of everything else to do, because there's, even if all of your current Nexi are completely full, you can still feed population to your sanctuaries. So there's really no need to worry about like being population capped like you have to with other factions. This is a very late game upgrade that you start with at the very beginning of the game, which is kind of confusing. What you definitely want to prioritize, because of several factors which I'll point out, is you want to colonize as many of these as possible and as quickly as possible. You don't necessarily want to prioritize these over industry buildings or food buildings, but you definitely want to prioritize them over just about everything else. And the reason for that will become clear as we get to some of our other buildings. Alright, let's jump over here and see if there's anything that I am missing. So, we're actually getting a pretty good amount of industry to start with. Possesses a hidden home. Cannot colonize systems in the normal fashion. Abduct sleeper agents. This all sounds pretty similar. Okay. That's a pretty big penalty. Minus 75% food on systems. With Umbral Choir race minimally manifesting in the physical universe, manpower stocks suffer stunted growth. Okay. So what this is saying is 75% less food goes to manpower on systems. Which means we take a huge hit to how fast we generate manpower. Extra manpower is generated from idle bandwidth, so not running any defensive or offensive bandwidth is going to increase manpower. Manpower generation. +1 hacking operations, yes, I'm aware of that. Reduced trade value on star systems. I don't remember this being a thing, but maybe it always was and it just never impacted my games. Minus 50% system trade value, so trading is not going to be as valuable. Stay at home. Plus 100% over-colonization penalty on Empire. Minus 5% maximum bandwidth per system above colonization threshold. Interesting. Twitch infiltrators. We get faster hacking speed. All of our ships are cloaked except for juggernauts and obliterators. +1 bandwidth per sleeper. We start with a titanium mine and a Hyperion mine. Extra cost for luxury resources for system development. And we start with xenobiology and planetary landscaping. So lots of penalties, but some very powerful traits as well. I don't remember some of these. Let's go ahead and take a look over here. So we start with a democracy, which gives us 2 slots, which is nice. And I was correct. Eden Incense is our preferred population booster. If we can get a hold of some Eden Incense in the early game, we should definitely be running this because it gives us extra science and extra bandwidth. The bandwidth is more important than the science, probably. And then our political system here. Extra pacifist, extra influence, and extra hacking speed. Alright, and then the laws that we start with are the Dirty Hands Act and Trusted Brokers, also Toys for Boys, and Cram for Exam. Unfortunately, the way that the game works now, you do not innately start with any influence on turn 1, so you cannot run some of your laws on turn 1. Unless you get lucky, sometimes you'll uncover some influence points when you're doing some scouting with your ships, which we will be doing momentarily. I'll worry about setting up laws here in just a minute. I don't want to forget to do that. Nothing on this screen that we need to worry about. And okay. So, almost without question, this is always the first research that you need to get done if you don't already start with it. And this is why I think colonizing your systems is so powerful. So if you colonize your system and you get all of those Nexi colonized, this building becomes much more effective and efficient. We don't have any fertile or temperate zones, so we're not going to get like the really big industry spike that, say, the United Empire gets when they lay their xeno-industrial infrastructure down. But industrial refrains also applies to planets on sanctuary systems. So as we grab sanctuaries, any of those sanctuary planets that are fertile or temperate, or just a planet, will also give us extra industry. So this is a very powerful building if you are very rapid in your colonization of systems through sanctuaries, as well as your own system. One of the nice things about us is we don't really have to worry about what kinds of systems we can get onto right away, because our home system has 5 planets, in quotation marks, that we can colonize right away. And that's 50 extra industry just for getting that done once this building is completed, plus the extra 10 from the system. So it's good. Or I guess it's not 10 for a system. It's just 10 per planet. So okay, so then you take that one, you pair it with this one, and now colonizing each of those extra Nexi is not only giving us an extra 10 industry, it's also giving us an extra 10 science, right? So that's 50 industry, 50 science, but there's more, because we can also get this building very quickly. This building. And because those planets are cold, that's an extra 10 food, so that's 50 food. Okay, but wait, there's more, right? Because we talked about this guy, and we talked about this ability, and once we get it to level 2, all of those planets are sterile, so we're also going to get 50 extra dust. And so this is what the synergy that I saw before that really allows you to take advantage of colonization. Colonization is key for the Umbral Empire to really get their feet off the ground. So we want to colonize all of our planets in our home system and then start looking for really good sanctuaries with lots of planets. And there's another reason for the lots of planets, which we'll get to. I'm going to get out of here, and let's go ahead and start queuing up some of our important buildings. We do want to get these basic buildings done. And also, can I expand this just a little bit so we have a little more room here. And then there is a particular order that we want to do these in, but I'm going to wait until we do our scouting, just so we know what these are. But this will probably be the first one. Dust Accelerator and Artificial Life are both positive anomalies. uninhabitable area and flickering matter. Not great, but not terrible. This one is really bad. Low quality, -1 to everything. But then artificial life gives us some extra, and then there's a life form. Okay, so I don't know how randomized these are, but that's interesting that we ended up with 3 negatives, 4 positives, and 1 neutral. And then we'll see what these end up being. So that leads me to the next thing that we really definitely need to do, and that is take a look at our ship design. So we should edit this. We should see that we are going to start with 10 movement and 2 probes. So that means I'm kind of leaning towards going with the extra engine on my hero ship. I don't see any reason to edit the design of this. I guess I could technically go like that, but it's going to cost a lot to make that happen. And because my hero ship can't get that fast, it doesn't really make any sense to do it. So we'll just reset the design and close that out. So that ship is good to go. And then we just want to make sure that this ship actually started with that movement. So it does have 10 movements, so we're good. Okay, and I actually start with 2 scout ships, which is nice. Not just 1, because we don't actually have a colony ship. So we get 2 of these. And then one thing that we should probably do initially is merge them together. Now we probably won't keep them together, but we want to merge them together so that we get all the XP on both ships for scouting this initial territory. And then we want to add our hero to the scouting party. And then we want to edit his ship, and we're going to make his ship a little bit different. So that gets us to a movement of 10. And then I'll add the scouting probe there. That gives us some more probes. And apply design. Cool. So now we have a lot of probes in this fleet. Unfortunately, we don't get the free probes anymore that we used to get. Let's get to the right screen here. Used to be when you would build probes and upgrade, you would get the probes when you built them. Now you have to wait for them to regenerate. So we'll have a total of 10 probes max. And we can go ahead and get all of these things scouted. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, honeycomb scoop, +5 vision range. Once we get it built, not incredibly helpful for us. And life pods away battle tactic, also not incredibly helpful for us. So that was unfortunate, 2 really bad rolls, but nonetheless a little bit of XP on our hero. And we also have a couple of things that we can do here. So it looks like there's a neutral faction right here, and since we have some extra probes, we could go ahead and throw them out and see what this neutral faction is. Now, a little tip: if you see a bubble like this, I could throw it straight at the bubble and uncover it, but actually I just need to hit the center of the bubble to uncover the system. So if I throw it like this, I actually get a little bit better vision of what's out there, and I still uncover it. So go ahead and throw that one out. Okay. And then we're going to travel down that lane, so we don't really need to go any further. But it does look like I could throw another probe out that way. And so we'll kind of like throw it out here like so, and that will ensure that if that lane's very long, we'll still get a chance to see something down there. Fortunately, we still have some movement left, so we can actually go ahead and send our fleet on its way. and uncover another system. What we got here? Desert Monsoon Ashen Steppes. So there are 2 planets in this system that we might be able to set up a sanctuary on, which would be good. What else? Anything else? Let's take a look at this system. We've got a gas hot and ash and toxic. This is a pretty bad system. It's going to be difficult to colonize anything over here, but we have made first contact with these guys, which is nice. What do we know about them? They are temperate, so they provide extra dust. +5 per curiosity discovered on Empire. That's an interesting effect. And then extra dust on gas. They are a religious faction. Interesting. Okay. Well, that has unlocked the ability to do some hacking operations. So let's go ahead and get some hacking operations going. So if we wanted to start a hack to them, we could go directly to them like this. At the very early onset of the game, most factions don't have any defenses, and so this should be pretty easy to target. And then our second hacking operation, we can go ahead and get a sanctuary started on that system. That's probably about it for this turn. We did want to go back and look at laws. So let's go... first, let's go to this screen. One of the things that happens after the first turn that is not always super apparent is your political party will start adding approval to your system. So right now we're getting +2 approval for democracy and +50 for the colony base. This will go up by about 8, if I'm not mistaken, after turn 1. And the reason it will do that is because of this. So because pacifists and scientists are basically the leading political parties, and that's our preferred political party for our faction, we get a little bit of extra approval. Anytime that the government changes from these groups, we'll lose some of that approval, potentially. So it's really important to pay attention to your breakdown of your population, because it can affect your approval quite a bit. Like, you'll notice sometimes if your population starts to shift and you get a whole bunch of different races, that all of a sudden you're losing approval, and it's related to that system. But we'll see that bounce up, so that'll put it at around 60. And the reason that I'm curious about that is 60 plus 20 is 80, but I think we got to get up to 85 before we really get the super big bonus. Also, losing industry in the very early game is pretty bad. So I think what we're going to do is this turn we're going to run this one, and then I'm just going to leave this one open for a turn. Now next turn I might change both of them, but I want to see exactly where our approval lands. So right now we're at 48. We're actually losing 4 for cram from the exam. We were at 52, so that number is important. 52. Let's go ahead and end turn 1. So much for a faster video, right? 30 minutes in. Alright, so we jumped up to 54, and we got +6. Okay. Sorry about that. +6 from leading political parties in the system. And this is system dependent, so the population on this system might be different than populations on other systems. And so some systems might be very happy with the government and other systems might not. It just depends. And one of the things that you'll face is sometimes you'll get a penalty for having taken over another faction system, and then their politics don't mesh with yours, and so they get like an approval penalty. It's usually pretty easy to overcome, but it's something to be aware of. If you mouse over this, you'll get that information. What's curious to me is it doesn't take effect till turn 2. So, we would be at 58 right now. 58 plus 20 is going to be 78. I'm not sure that that's enough to really warrant switching over. But now that we have a little bit of influence, we can actually activate this because it does have a cost. And this will improve the rate at which we get certain things built, which is nice. It's also going to generate science into the political system. So every turn that we're running this, we're going to be putting little drops in the bucket for scientists and scientist political party, which I kind of want to keep around. Let's go ahead and get back out here, and then let's get our ships moving. And so from here, we should be able to scout that. Alright. And our hero's already leveled up, and I'm going to go first point into there. And the goal is he has 7 more turns of flying around as a fleet commander, and in those 7 turns I want to try to get enough experience on him to get him to level 3. So we just hit level 2. We need 50 more experience to get to level 3, and then we can actually come back with 2 points into that ability and start generating some dust. Nothing was found. It looks like there are at least one curiosity over this way. And then this still hasn't reached out there yet, so we don't know what's out that way. I think this might be a good time to split up our ships. So I'm actually going to go ahead and create a new ship from that one. And then that one does not have the hero. We're going to send him out this way. Okay. Found another minor faction, the Sowers. Let's take a look at what they have. So there are 2 curiosities over here. And we should go ahead and make contact with them. So my instinct is telling me to grab the one that's close by and then head out that way to grab those 2, and that gives us the option of heading over here if this uncovers something really good. But if it doesn't, we definitely can just go grab those 2. Unfortunately, that's a very long flight, but this will work. And this is the one with our hero. We want to make sure our hero is the one that is doing all of the searching. So we'll get the one from him. Hostile fauna. Another battle tactic that is pretty irrelevant. And one of the things that we notice right here is that it looks like the lane is bending, which makes sense because it's kind of bending around the ring. So from this position, I don't know that we can actually get... Yeah. we're not even going to be able to reach out that far, unfortunately. We could send it out this way, sort of parallel with this one. And if this lane bends back that direction, which it should, we might uncover something. But we might as well go ahead and use it. Since it's going to take us several turns to get over here anyways, we'll go ahead and queue up their movement. And I'm going to let him finish his move here. We won't scout the curiosities, but we may throw out our probes and then continue our journey around the ring that direction. That's probably what I want to do. Yeah. Okay. Hacking operations are all tied up at the moment, so we don't need to worry about that. Xeno linguistics is 5 turns away, so we don't need to worry about that. So, yeah, we can check this out. So this will be done in 4 turns, which is fine. Alright, we've successfully hacked, and we can now create a sanctuary on that, which we should do. So there are other options, and if you have multiple options that you're actually able to colonize, you should take a look at them. One of the things to keep in mind is that these are the base stats that we'll get per population that is on this system. So if these stats look significantly better than what we're getting on our home system, we should probably start moving population over to that planet. The other thing is, once the sanctuary is created, any resources that are on that system will be collected. So we're going to go ahead and start collecting deciduous trees. And then as soon as we research Hyperium, we'll start bringing in an extra 3 Hyperium every turn. And that will be really good for us, because Hyperium is a really good trade resource. It's also used in the construction of some higher buildings and modules for our ships. So I'm going to go ahead and confirm that. Alright, so we have our first sanctuary. It looks like some of our ships still have movement. I guess I must have ended the turn, huh? Okay, whatever. So from this position, do we want to send out any probes? I think we'll send out 2 of our probes. And I'll kind of just send out one like that, and the other one like that. And then we'll just travel down the lane with the rest of our movement. We should have at least 1 probe generated by the time we get over there. And I don't think there's much else to do this turn. So here's a big, this is where the manpower problem comes from. Every time you colonize a planet or a system, that system starts with no manpower on it. And once it becomes colonized, you start pulling your manpower to fill up its manpower defensive pool. So right now we're at a very high deficit. Once that manpower is filled up, this will start going positive and we'll start generating towards our global population cap. So we have like a pool of available manpower that's not allocated. Every turn that we have somewhere to allocate it, whether it's on a ship or in a system for defense, it will pull from that pool and it will allocate it until that pool's empty, or vice versa. If there's nowhere to fill up, then all of the extra manpower keeps getting put into this pool, and this pool has an upper limit or a cap that does increase as the game goes on. So depending on what researches you do, the pool gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and you can hold more manpower, so to speak, in reserve that will then fill those pools later on. What else? Anything else that I'm worried about this turn? I don't think so. Let's get hacking operation. Oh, yes, definitely. We already completed one of our hacking operations. I forgot about that. So we can get a second hacking operation, and we should. I can actually hack from here to here. 4 turns. I think we'll get there before they get defenses up. I believe defenses on most of the other systems goes up around turn 10. This will finish by turn 7, so that should be before defenses get put up. Once their defenses get put up, you can no longer hack them without risk of being traced. So we'll have to be more careful with doing these really short hacking operations. Might have to make some longer routes so that they can't trace it back to us as easily. Okay. Go ahead and end that turn now. Sorry for yawning. I'm kind of tired. It's getting a little late, and I have been staying up late, so. Alright. We actually have all of our pros. So that's good for us. Okay. Manpower module. That's not going to be very helpful for us. And star nodes revealed. That's not going to be very helpful for us either. I mean, yeah, we found this. Which sucks. A very big, empty gas giant with nothing else. Awesome. Okay. Well. Now I remember why I don't like playing on the ring. One thing I forgot to check at the very beginning of the game that I usually do is this. We are in the constellation Virgo, and we can actually get extra science by being the most plentiful faction on this colony, or constellation. I think our sanctuaries count towards that, so we can actually achieve that, but I'm not 100% certain of that. This is really bad for us. 2 things that I'm noticing. Basically, this is just a straight line, which sucks. It's going to get really obnoxious once pirates start spawning, because there's really no alternate routes to get around them. And that can be very problematic. I'm very tempted to send him back this way, because I have no idea. That's a long trip, and we don't even know if there's going to be anything good down there. I have 1 point of movement, or I can throw probes. I think I should probably go ahead and throw my probes out. We can just kind of throw them back this way and this way, just in case there's like a star system out off to the side that's not part of this constellation. There could also be more constellations out here on the outer edges, so there could be another one that comes around this way. So we might uncover that and be able to jump from our constellation to another one to avoid certain problems. What else? Is there anything else we can do here? Not sure. Yeah, we'll just remain idle for 1 turn. Sure. Alright. We'll just take a peek over here. So we're still at 54% approval on this system. Mainly due to cram for exam / political parties. And then on this system, it's just 50%. We are generating the deciduous trees, so that's good. Alright, successful hack. We have a couple of different things we can do here. We can just improve our image, which will give us some good stuff with these guys for 5 turns. We can uncover secrets, which reduces the cost of certain actions with them, which we can't really do. Or we can hack their economy, which gives us some resources from them for a few turns. Increase the minor civilization's yield by 50% for normal resources. 75% for normal and 50% for strategic. Interesting. But I really like the back door. Getting a back door added to systems is pretty helpful. Create a hidden back door which allows you to do hacking operations from this node and increase hacking speeds on neighboring nodes. That's really helpful. So we'll go ahead and create the back door. And then now that we have a back door, we can actually generate... Oh, I forgot about this. 300 dust or dark glitter. 30 dark glitter I don't think is enough. 30 dark glitter I don't believe is going to be enough to do a system development. It's not a bad one though. The extra manpower per turn is really what I would like to see, but also it makes your system incredibly difficult to siege. So if anybody does find your home system, you are way more defensive with this as one of your resources. It's a very, very defensive one. This would be one that I would highly recommend doing if you're facing somebody like the Cravers or another faction that's just really aggressive. Because if they ever do find you, they may try to siege you, and this makes it almost impossible for them to be successful at that. But this is going to be the easier of the two to accomplish, so we're going to do that. I'll take the dust, I'll take the science. We'll lean into science. Let's see if we can't make that work for us. Let's go ahead and get our ships moving. Did he make it? He still hasn't even made it here yet. Yeah, it's like 3 turns down that lane. Holy moly. Even with a speed of 10, which is pretty high for like beginning of the game. Well, it's not looking good for our ability to get this guy leveled up. Like, we basically need like 2 more curiosities, and we're just not finding them. I think I am going to send him and this ship back this way. I want to kind of send the 2 ships in opposite directions anyways. So yeah, we'll just head back this way and spend a few turns regenerating probes. And then... do I have a free hacking operation? I do. So that's only 3 turns. That's 4 turns. So yeah, let's just do it from here. We'll hack them again, maybe do the approval one. not sure I intended his ship to pass this right away. I mean, we were going to eventually, but... Alright, so we made it down here. I've got 4 probes. Let's see if we can get anything uncovered. Nope. Save the last one. We did find somebody's ship. It looks like it's the Lumeris. Lumeris are relatively peaceful, so they're not super aggro. We might be able to do very well with them as one of our 2 neighbors. That's actually a pleasant surprise, I think. It's been a while since I played against the Lumeris. Seems lately, when I have played this game, even off camera, I always get really aggressive neighbors. So you gotta play the game a little bit differently against them. Also, the AI in this game just isn't super intelligent, unfortunately. Alright, so we did get Xenolinguistics completed. I definitely want to get Hyperion on deck next. And then the reason for that is twofold. Number one, because we want to start collecting it, and we actually have a pretty good source of it from our sanctuary, which can lead to a lot of money, which can lead to a lot of things. But also because interplanetary transport network is particularly good for us early game. Because our starting system, with all of our starting population, although not very large, and capped at 4, do greatly benefit from this building. An extra 4 industry per population pip, 4 times 4, that could be 16 extra industry at max on that system, and even more once we start upgrading those other tiers later and adding population slots. So we want to get that going. Let's go ahead and head to the technology screen, and we can see that there is a Architect of Industries. Be the first to possess 20 star system improvements in your empire. We are only at 3. This is going to be hard for us to achieve because we don't have a lot of systems that can build like a whole bunch of really cheap and easy buildings. So duplicate buildings do count towards this, and we don't have the ability to duplicate any building ever. So it just means that we're probably never getting this reward. A nice stockpile of Transvine would be nice, but not the end of the world. We definitely want metallurgy. We're going to want galactic commodities relatively soon. And out of curiosity, did I even look at this one? Be the first to have 8 planets colonized. We're already at 2 for a large cache of Hyperion, so not that great. And then this one is just the Endless Research Park, which looks to be the same as it's always been. So nothing super exciting there. I am considering grabbing this early, not so much for the supermarket, but because we have 2 minor factions really close to us, and we're going to want to be able to interact with them pretty quickly, especially with the Lumeris nearby. They tend to be very friendly with other minor factions. This is good. Show me where that's at. We've created a successful hack on. Also, we want to create a backdoor there as well. Okay. This is really good for us. So, what we can do is we can use one of our hacks to put a beacon on this special node, and then once the beacon has fully charged, we actually get the plus 50 industry. I did this in one of my other playthroughs, and it worked out very, very well. So this is actually a really, really good find for us. The fact that it's really far away kind of sucks, but because we're going to get a back door, or we just did put a back door here, we can actually start the hack from here and shorten the time significantly. So that's good. Cool. We'll definitely be doing that. And I already... Yeah, we already dealt with that, so... Okay, 2 probes, nothing to scout for. That's going to get uncovered, but this lane, we can go ahead and send a probe down there and see if it uncovers anything, and then I'll save the last probe and just go ahead and move myself. It looks like, right here, even though we didn't actually uncover anything by sending that probe out that way, specifically, we did uncover another minor faction, enough to know where to send a probe in the future. Unfortunately, I wasn't paying attention earlier, and this is why I wanted to stop when I was flying out this way, because if I did uncover something, I wanted to maybe either redirect or send out a probe. Now it's going to be a while before we ever get a probe over here, but that's good to know, and that makes getting that diplomacy research even more valuable. Let's go ahead and let's pivot to industrial refrains. You really want to just maximize getting industry over everything in the very, very early game. So the first 20 turns, just about every turn that you spend should be spent producing an industry building or advantage. Okay, we've already got a back door, so we can improve our image. Do we want to do anything else? Let me read this again. Increase the minor civilization's yield of resources. Will grant relation rewards even when at war. So that's interesting. Even if they're not friends with you and you hack their economy, you'll get the rewards. Okay. So let me take a look here. We're very close. Not very close. I think we got to pass the 25% mark before we get any reward. So I'm not sure that this actually works if we do it now. Like, once we cross this threshold, we start to get some of their resources. And it increases quite a bit as we move up. I think what we're going to do is we're going to improve our image for this hack, which you can see the growth now is significantly larger because we've revealed curiosities and we have hacking relations. Alright, discover dark glitter, and I just skipped the other one. We can go find it though. Super spuds. Okay. Interesting. So there are no curiosities over here to grab at this point. So this is strictly let's just send out probes kind of there's almost certainly something out here. I don't know if that probe will actually get to it, but you can actually see a bubble here. I'm not sure what that's all about. maybe there's not anything? Maybe it's just part of the map? Yeah, I don't know. That's really weird. Those bubbles in the gas clouds are kind of like messing with my head. Oh wow, another completely garbage system. This is like the worst constellation ever. I cannot think of... Excuse me. I can't think of too many maps that I've had that I would hate worse than this one. Like, what do we have? We literally got nothing. Wow. So there's just not going to be a lot of sanctuary grabbing here. Let's go ahead and get this started. So we want to beacon that up in 7 turns for sure. And then... what else do we want to do? Probably this again, right? Alright, so this is 5 turns away from completion. This ship has movement. I suppose the best thing to do is bring this ship back. And he can throw that probe out over here. But as we're coming back, we're going to want to launch probes along the way. See if we can't tag this other constellation again in a couple places. Because the one we're on really sucks. Has my population grown enough to worry about this? We're still at a population of 2. So I do have Toys for Boys, but I don't think it's going to be enough to offset. I think if it got us to ecstatic or the highest level of approval, I would run it. I would run Toys for Boys if 20 approval put us at ecstatic, which I believe is at 85%. Which means we need to get to 65% without that law running before we want to add it to the queue. Right now we can just be anywhere we want because our stealth is high enough that these guys can't detect us at all, and so they can't really interact with us unless we want them to. That will change at some point in the game where they will have stealth detection, but more importantly than that, somewhere around turn 10 to 15, pirates will spawn, and pirates start with stealth detection. And so being anywhere near pirates becomes problematic, or having systems near pirates becomes problematic, because when a pirate flies over a system that is stealthed or a ship that is stealthed, it reveals it not just for the pirate, but for all players in the game. So that's an important little detail to be aware of. And I'll teach you a trick to deal with that, particularly for your sanctuaries, once we get a little further in. Alright, we're way out here now, and unfortunately for us, it is now turn 9, and he did not get enough to reach the level that I wanted, which is unfortunate. But we've only built 1 building so far, so he's only really lost 1 building worth of XP, and we certainly got more XP than that 1 building would have generated. So it's still, even in a bad situation like this, it's still better to have done that than to have put him here and have him build the whatever it was we got done. What did we construct? drone networks. Because the amount of experience that getting drone networks constructed was ever going to produce just isn't really worth it. He'll still get all of the experience for cerebral reality, industrial refrains, all of these buildings. So we'll be just fine. And he'll hit level 2 soon enough. That will increase our dust a little bit. We'll be in pretty good shape. This ship has 4 probes, and now I'm almost wishing I had upgraded to faster engines and fewer probes, because this is painful. These lanes suck. Let's go ahead and let's do something like this. There we go. Okay. Ash, arid, lava, gas. Another really difficult system for us to get on, so not much help there. I still have 2 turns until that gets completed. Oh, that's really helpful. So this actually shows us the speed, and it gives us all of the information. So we're actually getting extra speed because of the back doors, which I find very useful, and then also nearby sanctuaries. Cool. Good to know. Left click to toggle visibility. Cancel. I don't want to cancel my hacking operation. Left click. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Okay. Cool. That is a new feature that was added at some point. I don't remember exactly when. I'm not sure why this one shows so much more information than that one, but either way, good stuff. Alright, what are we looking at now? New relations, so that's good. Ooh, we found another system out here, and it looks like we found the Cravers. See, this is the kind of system we wanted to find for our hero. Look at all the curiosities. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So close and yet so far away. We were actually sitting right here at one point. We don't have any way to get over there, so it's not that big of a deal, but that's unfortunate. Let's go ahead and finish off the... Okay. How much movement do I have left? 3 points. Send that probe out there. And this is part 2. Bonus science from cloaked fleet per turn. That's actually interesting. Reach 67 maximum bandwidth. Bandwidth increases as our population grows. And there are a few other things that can get that going. Found a collapsing star. This will give us 50 extra influence per turn, and we should definitely put a beacon on it as well. But we don't need to do it right away. And then Varen, steps, a snow, and a gas. But also 5 curiosities. This would have been a huge XP cache for our hero had we managed to get out there in time. We'll definitely send our ship that way. And then our other ship manage to get over here. We can send out one probe. Looks like I sent one out that direction. Maybe like right here, or I can send it back this way. How about we send it back this way? And then continue moving. We'll get that final, well, probably not final, but we'll get another minor civilization uncovered here shortly. Alright, so we're 3 turns away from completing this. Our approval is still only at 54, so we need about 11%. I can get part of that by removing cram for exam. So actually, our next research might be this. And the reason for that is the approval building actually will, with the Toys for Boys, put us at the appropriate approval rating to get the maximum benefit. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. And that will be my play for the next 10 turns or so. Alright, so we successfully hacked them again. I can either improve my image again, or we can hack their economy and get extra resources. Show me the location. So right now, we're getting dust, science, and manpower. We can increase that effect by 75%, which I think we should do. So yeah, let's hack their economy. Now, oh wow, that can't be. How did it go from 6 to 26? That math is some screwy math. Something weird's going on. The relation rewards for this faction are increased following your hacking operation. Well, that was incredibly profitable. We should definitely consider doing that again. We did gain 1 population. Let's go to our system here. So once we get to the 4th population on this system, we're going to want to prioritize either colonizing one of these, or we can redirect to our sanctuaries. We can also redirect where our ships get constructed. And these are separate. Right now they're set to none, which is what we want. We want everything right here when we make it. This is providing us a small amount of negative approval. That can be problematic, but it's not going to be a lot. It's less than 1 point right now. That will get bigger with time, and with a second point for sure. But I'm not too worried about it. I don't want to build too many of these until I get my core buildings built, which include industrial refrains, cyber farms, and interstitial sciences. Those are the ones that make these very, very profitable. Alright, do I have any more hacking operations? I do, because we just completed one. And we should try to get that done. We'll do the same thing with these guys that we did with the other ones. Alright. So he's got one traveling that direction. Let's send one out maybe this way, or just like straight out that way. I think I'm going to send one out here just to make sure that that's truly nothing. Alright, and the other ship? Yes. All kinds of choices here. Life forms, subterranean, signal, life form, and life form. Lots of life forms. Let's start with this one. Transvine. Okay. We still have movement, so I'll just put him on sleep for now. It's going to take us several turns with the speed at which these replenish to get that uncovered, unfortunately. Plasma Metallurgy in 1 turn, and this in 2. Off to a bit of a slow start, unfortunately. But we will get that turned around shortly. So, what's going to be worth the most industry once this building is complete? Right now, my dust and my science are fine. I don't really need to worry about getting Cerebral Reality built anytime soon. I can move Cyber Farms up because it's a really important building. And this one is less important, but still important. I think what we're going to do actually, though, is we're going to put this one in the queue next, because with 3 population, this is going to be worth 12 industry, and I don't have anything else that I can do that's worth more than 12. Even once this is completed, if I do this, this is only going to be worth 10. So we definitely want to go ahead and get this done first. And it'll be worth 16 if I fill this all the way full, which we'll probably do. Let's get our fleets moving. Alright, so the pirates finally laid down. That's turn 12, unfortunately for us. Hyperium intensifier. We do have a nice supply of Hyperium in our systems. Now that pirates are up, one of the things that we're going to want to do relatively quickly is we need to colonize another one of these. And the reason for that is sanctuaries are stealthed based on the number of sanctuary systems or planets that you have colonized. So the first planet gives you a stealth of 1, so nobody can see this without stealth detection 1. Pirates start the game with stealth detection 1, so if a pirate flies over this, they will reveal this sanctuary. However, if I get a second planet, say we colonize this steppe planet, that puts us at stealth detection 2, and so even if a pirate or another player flies over this with stealth detection 1, they will not be able to see our sanctuaries. They will stay hidden. we can get up to stealth detection 3 by getting at least 3 systems colonized. Or sorry, 3 planets colonized within this system. And so that's what I'm going to try to do. So the next priority for research, it may be to grab steps, which is this one. Or was it ash, which would be this one. So one of those 2 buildings might be the next one we want to, or researches might be the next one we want to grab. We did uncover another constellation. Cool. Okay, so we see there are 3 constellations now. There's Virgo, there's Equal, and there's Indus. And if I can kind of make a flash. Okay. Yeah. Another turn down. Alright, we got probes. We found Husk. So the Craver's home world is up here. Good to know. So this basically, at the moment, looks like we're sandwiched between Cravers and Lumeris. Turn 13, we finally hit our point. We're going to go ahead and throw it in that. That's going to give us more dust per system and also per sterile, which will start to pay off here shortly. And the industrial refrains. That building getting completed is what gave him the bonus XP that moved him up a notch. And now we're just going to kind of snowball our industry and get our industry really, really high. So we started at 30, and in 13 turns, we've bumped this all the way up to 77 already. And it's going to get quite a bit higher very, very quickly. I imagine we're going to be at a couple hundred here before long. And then we're really going to get this rocking and rolling. As that happens, as our industry gets online, it's going to be very, very important for us to make sure that we are increasing our science to keep up with our industry. There's a bad habit that you can get into in these types of games where your science is so far behind your industry that you've run out of important or valuable things to build. And so finding a balance between those 2 things can be really important. And it can be worth slowing down your industry snowball just a little bit to get science so that you can actually keep up with building things. Otherwise, you just sit here waiting for science to be completed, building pointless ships that you don't need, or garbage buildings like honeycomb scoop that don't really do anything useful for you. And that's not where we want to be. Alright, so what do we have here? Very close to that now. I've got 3 probes, and I am now close enough to get that uncovered. Maybe we do... It looks like I've already sent one down that path. But maybe we send one out this way. Alright, let's go. Keep working on these. What did we find? Oh, we found Eden incense. Very good. So, know what we want to do with that. And since I actually remembered the turn that we got it, this is going to be really good for us. So now we'll get a little bit of extra science and a little bit of extra bandwidth, which will help us achieve that one quest a little bit sooner. And also maybe take a turn or so off of some of our research. Maybe. Probably not. And then our movement... I actually want to bring this ship back to... I think we can actually do it from here. If not this turn, in a very, very near future, we should be able to do something from retrofit our ships on any of the minor civilizations that are in good standing with us. Out of curiosity, we have one turn until Quorum's hack is finished, and 3 turns until Usulu's hack is finished. And notice, one of the things that I'm not doing right now is I am not running any defensive or offensive programs. And the reason for that is we are invisible to everybody on the map right now. So there is literally zero reason for us to worry about being hacked. If the pirates or somebody else traces something back to us at some point, then we might have to worry about that. But while we're running no defensive modules, this actually does use up some of our bandwidth. I didn't realize that. Interesting. While we're not using our bandwidth, we are getting bonus manpower. And I think if we go to maybe this screen, is it going to tell me anything? Unfortunately, it's not going to tell me how much of this 32 is being generated by the extra manpower that we're getting from bandwidth. And I'm not sure I see that anywhere on here either. Hacking operations. Yeah, that would be nice to see. What would really be nice would be if this empty space here, when I moused over it, told me how much extra manpower it was generating for me, or showed me somewhere on here. But it doesn't appear to be the case. Alright. Just sleep for another turn. So this place, yeah, we definitely need to improve our image here first, and then the next hack that we do there is going to be to generate whatchamacallit. Also, we now know these guys, and we can deal with them accordingly. And 20% of the galaxy's been uncovered. Sure. A black hole. Okay. New luxury resource, red saying. Interesting. Ooh. Minor civilization pilgrims. I do like the pilgrims quite a bit. So it looks like the way that we're going to take advantage of this game is basically by grabbing a bunch of minor civilizations we don't really have any way to colonize lots of sanctuaries. It's just not a thing that's available to us. Alright. We've got another one of those. We'll definitely take this. This is just lower science for 10 turns, but we get a free technology in 20. So that's totally worth it. 100 science for a free technology is probably the best deal you'll get. And some deciduous trees. Alright, so I need another hack to these guys. And this hack is going to be very, very fast and very, very difficult to trace. I still have not noticed the message that says that their defenses are up. It might happen on turn 15, but I don't think it's guaranteed to always happen on turn 15. I think it's just somewhere around there within a couple turns of. We also did hit something out here, and so that probe that I sent out to that one spot, actually I think that was this one here, turned out to be a nothing burger. It's just the map has these little bubbles that make it look like there might be something when you're zooming in and out. But one of these probes did touch another one of these, and so we do have sight of the blue player, which is the Sofuns, and then actually we can see more of their stuff over here. So maybe we could throw some, ooh, another pirate, lovely. Maybe we could throw some more probes out this direction. We'll see. What I'm planning to do with this ship is bring him home temporarily and retrofit him with better probes and engines if I have them available to me. If not, we'll find something else for him to do for a couple of turns. Maybe fly back over here and throw some more probes out. Try to uncover some more of these other constellations. Overall on the scoreboard, we're not doing too terrible. Sort of in the middle of the pack. Alright, we need to come back over here for just a second. I need to think about, is there anything else I want to build? And when do I want to start grabbing these? The very first one that we grab is going to be 10 extra industry and 10 extra dust. So maybe we just get this building and finish all of these first. I think that's probably the way, but I might grab one of these in between. In fact, I am definitely grabbing one of these in between, and it's probably this one, because it's two really, really nice. Yeah. And I'm going to put it in the queue right there. So we're going to get 12 industry from that, 10 industry from this. We'll grab our population sometime in the next 3 turns, it looks like. It's actually 7 turns. So we will pop cap at 7 turns, but then as we do that, we'll have available space over here. So I don't have to start putting people on my sanctuary just yet, if I don't want to. there might be reasons to do that, depending on the quality of the sanctuary. This one's not super great. It's not bad, but it would be 6 food, which is good, but only 2 industry. So we are stockpiling a lot of dust right now, and we want to start taking advantage of that dust very soon. Which means we really need to get some science stuff going. But we're getting there. I also have a pretty good stockpile of influence. And I haven't checked my approval rating recently, but we're still at 50-something%. So, alright. Off-world agribusiness. That is important. Now we can do some diplomacy things, which is good. Also, we really need galactic market, but also this. I need to be able to buy things out with all this dust to speed things up. And we're going to need 2 of these relatively quickly. We don't have luxury resources, so this one's not very useful. All of our planets are sterile, however, so this specialization is somewhat helpful, but not very. These 2 are really the ones that we're going to want for sure. And the order in which I get them is kind of important. I think this is more valuable than having access to the market right this second. So I think I'm going to queue just that one for now. But I also wanted this, yeah. How many turns is it going to take to get this? Let me think about this for a second. If I grab this, I can upgrade my sanctuary to 2 planets. The problem is, I have a lot of things that I want to be doing with my hacking right now. So my hacking is kind of tied up anyways. But the main reason for wanting this is for the better probes to upgrade my 1 ship. And that is like right now. That's going to take 5 turns, and that's going to take 4. I mean, I guess the longer I wait, the more dust I have, the faster I can buy out a few things. Or grab this, buy out my industry buildings, and get more things faster. I think the advantage of the probes are going to be more valuable. This is a really powerful early game research because of titanium probes and how amazing they are. Hyperion probes are pretty good too, but I really like titanium probes because the regen time on titanium probes is basically 2 probes every turn. You literally can throw out 2 probes every single turn. Which is just really good. At least on scout ships. Alright, speaking of scout ships. Alright, time to get a move on. Now the question is, do I want to bring this ship back and retrofit him as well, or just keep him rolling? It's going to be somewhat risky to fly back here, but I think that's what we're going to do. Oh, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. What I meant to do was this. Wait for that to wear off. Do I have anybody else? Okay. I guess let's just move down this lane first. Ooh, there's the pirates. Interesting. Very interesting. So, pirates at this point in the game do not have the little symbol that gives them detection yet. That's curious. I wonder when they're going to get that. So up to this point, he couldn't see me even if we were close together. What do my hacks look like? Oh, they're both going to finish very soon. I have 2 probes. We know that there's something out that way. So let's send those 2 probes out that way. And then we'll just wait a couple of turns. Alright, so the minor faction will provide a good portion of their resources, and a special action will be available if you have the best relation with them. In addition, a quest to assimilate them will be available. Install transmission beacon. Yes. Yes, please. Okay. This faction has been taken over by us, which is good. That just means we crossed the 50% threshold first, I believe. Also, we're still getting a lot of the bonus resources. We could attempt to assist them for 70 dust, or we could praise them some more. I'm going to go ahead and pay the dust since we have such a stockpile. Reach 62 approval in your empire and maintain it for 10 turns. Okay, well that's easy enough for us to do. Let's go ahead and go here, and let's abolish cram for exam and pass toys for boys. Now before I do that, actually, we're currently getting 127 industry. So we went from 30 to 77, and now we're just a couple turns later, we're already up to 127. I want to see what the penalty to this is when we enact Toys for Boys. So 127 Toys for Boys, pass, and so we went from 27 down to 14. So that's 13 points. 13 points of industry lost. Well, I guess not quite 13. It tells me right there. Minus 10.7 from Toys for Boys. we're also gaining 5 food. I have to go up here. 10 dust. Oh, where's the... Five food, 10 dust, 2 influence, and... Where do you see that at? It's on the science page, right? Here it is. And 6.5 loyalty science, so say 6. So all of those resources for 10 industry. I think that's worth it. Even though industry is king, we're getting like 20 to 30 points of extra resources in all the other categories. Alright, election time is coming up. Got a lot of science and a lot of pacifism. We'll see what happens. We've discovered the planet Vale. Okay, so this is incredibly important whenever you find these endless planets. If you have an opportunity, you should definitely try and get a hack on them and get a sanctuary going, because they're very valuable. And once you have a sanctuary on them, if somebody else takes them, it's incredibly powerful to have a whole bunch of sneaky sleepers already there. Unfortunately, pirates are going to be a problem, and because this is a 1-planet system that we really can't colonize the other 2 yet, I could get Savannah and get this to level 2 relatively quickly though. So that is a thing. Alright. In fact, I believe this one is oh no, this one is Steps, not Savannah. Savannah's one of the other ones. So many important things to get done. Alright, where else can we send a probe? Clearly over this way, right? Because there's a lane right here. And we'll just sleep for another turn. 3 turns to be exact. Alright, this is about to get completed, which is good for us. Is there anything else I want to do right now? I guess I do want to look at my approval. So we're at 78%, which is giving us a 10% boost. If we can get to 85% or higher, we'll get a 25% boost. It's an additional 15% on top of the 10. And so very, very important to get to that extra tier. And that makes Toys for Boys even better when it's actually pushing you into that highest tier. And that is why I wanted to get this building in the queue. Now the question is it worth rushing that building over the rest of my buildings? I think it is, because this is going to give us a little bit of everything. So a little bit more science, dust, influence, and food all at the same time. So yes, I want that ASAP. Oh. And we have a hacking operation. And so many things that we need to hack, too. Almost more than I can really handle. Okay, so things that need hacked. This system needs hacked. These guys could be hacked again. The pilgrims need hacked. This needs hacked and a sanctuary put on it. The pirates need hacked. So what's the most important thing to do here? I think the most important thing that we do here is hack the pirates, put a backdoor on the pirates, use the backdoor to hack Isso, and get a sanctuary on Isso. That is my play. Alright. Show location. This is going to complete in 10 turns, so we really don't need to improve our image anymore with these guys. I think we're in pretty good shape to accomplish this quest before anyone else, which means we should probably just hack their economy again. Also this. Out of curiosity, so we're at 23 and 20 with 3.9 manpower. And now, oh boy, look at that. Basically doubled it. Sweet. This is one way to get a lot of these types of resources. And again, we're making 100 dust a turn right now. Yeah, we're doing really well here. This is completed. This will be completed in 1 turn. And then 3 turns until we get infinite supermarkets. And then it's a matter of, do I want to just snowball all of these right now? Once I get infinite supermarkets, do I want to just build these? We can build these in 2 turns apiece. And yeah, I think we do. Does it matter which order at this point? Not really. Let's just move each one of these up in front of... So that's going to be a bunch of resources, and then 10 industry, 10 dust, 10 industry, 10 dust, 10 industry, 10 dust. And then as we complete these become super valuable because that's a ton of food, that's a ton of science. This gets done whenever it gets done. And we start looking at these really, really powerful unique improvements that we want to grab. We'll talk about that here shortly, but I think the unique buildings are some of the most important buildings for this faction, more so than any other faction. It's really beneficial when there's the quest to build 3 unique buildings. But even without, it's just a super efficient building to build for the choir. And there are 3 or 4 of them, which we'll look at once we get to that point. But I want to finish all this stuff first. Alright. So now we can upgrade our probes on our ships. We also have the ability to colonize a second planet on our first sanctuary, which increases the stealth detection to 2. And now, I really want to get this so we can start buying out stuff with our cash. Probably followed by that. Also, we still have 5 turns of this before we need to pop that booster again. I just wanted to check that. Alright, and we're already back up to 130 industry, so we've already surpassed the industry that we gave up. Alright, we have curiosities to grab. Wow, this is a big constellation. Basic shielding, not really useful for us. It's kind of unfortunate. We're getting really bad rolls on a lot of these curiosities. Most of the stuff we found is just completely inconsequential for our needs. I do have the ability to hack over here and grab some of these other systems. And we should definitely get a hack to Gano. Now, how do I want to do this hack? There are a couple of options. I have a back door here. We could go from here to there. That's only 6 turns. Could go from here to here. That's also 6 turns. If we wanted to make it a longer hack, we could do something like that. Now, why does that only take 2 turns? That makes no sense to me. Estimated time for hack to successfully complete, 2 turns. Your operation is passing through 1 or more back doors, so if a trace reaches the system you are on, they will be detected and might be destroyed. It's 2 turns to that system, 8 turns to that system. I think we are going to go the longer route, just because I'm afraid that at some point they're going to get their defensive programs up, and we're not going to be able to get a trace, or we're not going to be able to finish our hack before we get traced. By taking the longer route, that is less likely to be the case. Alright. Is our beacon fully up and ready yet? Fully charged in 12 turns. We could place some more beacons. We should probably do that at some point, but right now there's too many other things that I really need to get done with my 2 hacking operations per turn. There is a way to increase it to 3 fairly early in the game, and I think you can even get it higher than that, but I haven't played the super late game with Umbral Choir much, really at all. Okay. Let's... Yeah. You know what, I forgot. I've been wasting some time here. Hostile trace detected. Show location. Ah. Yes. So they have their defensive programs up. That's fine. Search 10 curiosities. Or find 4 systems outside of your constellation. The ram scoops are just the better engines. So 2 probes. Let's do something like that. Alright. A nebula. More red sync for us. Umbral Choir has now achieved 4 population. And we actually do need to do some population management here. I do not need you guys over here because I get way more industry if you stay over here due to the building that gives us bonus for this. It does give us a little bit of overpopulation penalty, but we're still ecstatic, so I'm okay with it. Nothing to do this turn, but we do have something to do over here, and that is edit our ship design. Extra engines would be helpful, and then 1 set of titanium probes. I could also go for Hyperion probes. They don't regenerate as fast, but you get more of them. Also, they have a higher vision range. I don't know. I think they're just larger. They are larger bubbles that they send out. I don't think they actually go further. We have lots of Hyperion. We don't have as much titanium. So, yeah. Let's go ahead and swap that in like that. Apply that design, and then we can retrofit this guy because he's on a friendly miner faction. And now this should be really easy to complete the scavenge ram scoop quest. So we'll send like 1 there, 1 there, and 1 there. See how that goes. And I'll probably just stick around there for a little while. 2 turns until we get that completed. I really need to get some more approval going here, so we've actually stalled out over here, so we need to go ahead and get that going. That's going to be 2 approval points per turn for 10 turns. I could speed that up by spending a little bit more influence, which I think we will. and then we'll be able to potentially do a quest for them as well. I'm guessing we should just go ahead and do that as well. And then over here, we're at 3 per turn for 5 more turns. So that's 15. That'll get us above the first threshold. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Is there anything else I need to do? This is just going to take a little bit of time, but... Alright. Which faction do we want in control of the party? Well, because of the way the approval bonuses work, we want to try to keep both of these political parties active, so we'll just put our official support behind the pacifists. Anytime we do pacifist stuff, we get science. And so yeah, there we go. And that can be seen, okay. 10 extra approval, but we increase ecology, or 100% experience on heroes, but we increase militarist. I like the 100% XP on heroes. Let's go ahead and do that. As I was saying, if you go to here, this little key gives you some information on how your faction works. And so the size of these bubbles is important. So anytime we do anything that has a pacifist tag on it, we get a little drop in the bucket of pacifist support. And it's actually a pretty big drop. And then we also get a drop in the bucket of science support. So doing pacifist stuff actually improves our science and our pacifism significantly. What this means is if we focus on pacifism, we'll almost never lose the scientific party because we're always adding science. Now, the political outlook of our faction is pacifist. And this is important because if the choir do not have the pacifists in a political seat of power, they will lose that bonus that we're getting to approval, and it may even go negative. So that's important to keep in mind. Now, since we only ever get choir, it's not going to affect us as much as other factions that have lots of different populations that they accumulate over time and have to sort of deal with. But it is something to be aware of. Alright, is there anything else I want to do this turn? I don't think so. I think we're done. Alright, so now I can start buying stuff out with dust, which is nice. These guys have moved up to cordial. Show that hack. Okay, that's the pirates. So I want a back door on the pirate system. And then I want to use that back door to immediately hack that and get a sanctuary on it. Notice we can also get a sanctuary over here now, which we should probably look into doing. Ooh. Random science, extra dust, or influence, extra science, and approval. Our approval is really good right now. Actually, we're going to have to occasionally come back here and do population management. Every time I grab one of these, it automatically dumps one of my population over here. Just out of curiosity, 146 versus 150. So that's actually 4 extra, just like I thought it would be. Yeah, definitely should have them over there. If we put them anywhere else, it would probably be here. Because of the extra dust and food. But as long as our approval is above 85, I'm not too worried about it. So, do we need the approval? No. Do we need the science? No. The dust and the influence could be good. Dust in particular, because we're making so much of it. But actually, one random science can't really be too bad, even if we get something dumb. I'd almost rather roll the dice on getting a free science. Yeah, let's roll the dice. What did we get? It's not going to tell me. Okay, so we'll have to figure it out for ourselves. Looks like we got eukaryotic sap. That was a good roll. I'm all about the eukaryotic sap. So eukaryotic sap gives us the H-field fleet accelerator, the accelerator, which is an improvement to our hacking speed, and the colonized snow, which is helpful. Curiously enough, this technology, at least for other factions, also gave an approval bonus, but this one does not. Huh. Okay, well, we still need one more to unlock tier 3 bonuses, as well as the tier 3 part of the wheel. But yeah, I think that was the right choice. And we got another one of these completed, so we need to go back over here once again and move our population around. Or maybe I already did that. None of my ships really need to do anything, although this ship has more probes. Do I have any? Send one there. And just because there's a gap between this space and this space, we'll throw one that way. See if we uncover anything. Also, this ship. What is this ship doing? We have probes. We should probably be using them. Alright. Pilgrims are more... Okay, so they are going to trace us in 3 turns. we are going to complete this in 3 turns. Or is that what this is telling me? This is just telling me that the operation is being traced. It's not telling me how many turns. Okay. Umbral Choir. Excellent. We'll go ahead and activate that again. One probe. Maybe send it out that way. And while we're at it, I guess we'll just head back. Alright, 3 turns away from acquiring this faction completely. I now have the money to do this. Generate 84 science per turn in one of your systems before turn 4, before 14 turns pass. We should be able to do that. We're at 34. The way that we get to 84 is pretty simple. We move these things up in the queue. And actually, it's even simpler than that because we just buy them out, right? Like that. That just happens now? Pretty much. So like, just that doesn't do anything yet, but we were at 34. And now we're at 99. And this is what I was telling you about how fast these things snowball. Alright, so we now have an endless planet in our acquire, in our acquisitions column, and a whole bunch of stuff just happened. Okay, these guys moved up in approval. We unlocked a new technology. So now we have a new building. PEV Scale Accelerator was unlocked. That's a science one. That gave us our 3rd science, which unlocked the tier 3 sciences. We've got new probes. Not gonna worry about that. This has happened already. Objective achieved. Solo quest. And we've got a couple other things. Marketplace. Decreasing tensions in the galaxy lead to a general increase in the price of luxury resources. These will be completed in 1 turn now because we're already up to 168 industry. Notice our food jumped up to 128, science up to 119, dust up to 71, and now we're really starting to roll. Not going to be long before some of these things are completed. So, where are these guys at? All the way over here. First contact. Yes, I want to do that. +3 for 10 turns will put me at 30 in 10 turns, which will get me above this threshold at least. This faction has been assimilated, which means we now have a sanctuary here. Jungle and ice are really the only ones we're going to be able to get on early, so we're going to want to get ice worlds unlocked eventually. We already knew about that, and then he's got another point. And so I have two options. I can increase my bandwidth, or I can increase my food and industry. I think you know which way I'm leaning. Alright, so this ship once again has some movement. We also have two new probes, so... Is there anywhere... I want to try to uncover. Actually, if I take this ship and I move it over here, I should be able to uncover some stuff. Also, we have these ships now. Because we assimilated them, these ships are now in our possession. Notice that despite the fact that they don't have any modules for it, we get stealth on those ships now, just because they're in our possession. Is there anything I want to do with these ships? They're not very good ships, and they do cost me dust per turn, but I can actually sell them and get 52 dust and 200 manpower back into my manpower pool. Which I think I'm going to go ahead and do, because they're just garbage ships. If we're going to do ships, we might as well build our own. This is going to be completed in 2 turns. So I don't have to do anything there. These guys are still building up. And we do have a new hack, right? No, not quite. Not yet. 2 turns. So the colonization we saw earlier wasn't Isso. It was actually Ursula. That was our sanctuary getting placed there. Well, crap. I just left this, and now there's a new curiosity we could uncover. That's fine. Alright, so now we have access to the marketplace. We should definitely look at that. We also have access to this, basic system development. And be the first to reach level 3 in one of your systems. Okay. So what is the cost of this? So it costs 50 of that. It's basically 50 of all of these. The most valuable one is probably Jadonics, which we haven't seen at all. Dark Glitter, again, has some really powerful defensive value, but no economic value whatsoever. Transvine can be amazing if you don't want to have to run Toys for Boys and take an approval penalty to get all the lovely free resources. This can also be really good because influence is a hard resource to come by. But food isn't bad. Just getting growth. Growth can be incredibly powerful on these guys. And because we're very defensive in nature, this might actually be our best play. We're going to have to buy 20 Red Sing in order to pull that off. So, in order to pull that off, what can we do? Oh my, look at that. There's actually 56 Jadonics on the market. So, given enough cash, we could actually buy, but I don't think that's going to happen. Red saying, I think we only needed a little bit, right? I need 20. $20 red saying is going to cost 1.1 thousand dust. $50 Jadonics would only cost 1.8 thousand dust. I'm not likely to use the deciduous trees, so I can get 1.8 thousand just like that. And now I have a real decision to make. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, what do I do here? That's so tempting. Can you really go wrong with 50 Jadonics? That's like 60 extra industry. But growth is a really important feature of this faction, because we not only have to fill up our own colony, our own system, but we have to fill up all those other ones. Whew. Alright. I've made my decision. I'm not sure that this is the right decision. I'm very torn on this, but we're going to do it. And we only have to do it once because we only have one system. So that makes this incredibly easy for me. Stick that right there. Also, I'll move you over there. And you back up there. We're gonna constantly have to manage this a little bit. This is actually a pretty good building for us because it basically doubles our output here. But we're not really in any kind of a pinch on strategics just yet. And so now what I want to start transitioning to is these types of buildings. So this is going to give us a significant amount of food plus extra food on Original Empire. So all of our what are they called? Umbral Choirs, I guess. All of our Umbral Choir population pips are going to now produce 3 extra food. And then we're going to grab this one and get the same effect. And we're going to grab as many of these types of buildings as we can over the next course of the game. We also have this thing, which can be very good. And we definitely can build it quickly. So I'm just not sure, because these are very expensive strategic wise. We could check. Is anybody... One of 8. So nobody's started this building yet. I actually have enough dust to buy this out. Yeah, let's go ahead and do it. This is going to be very, very efficient. It's going to give me 30 extra food for whatever that was, dust-wise. Okay. Yes. We're now at 5 population. And we now need to pick a new technology. Okay. So let's look at our options. So, things that are important to us. Traveling between constellations actually is pretty important to us. Unfortunately, or fortunately, we got a free technology and we ended up with this one instead of that one. This one is less valuable, but it did unlock arid planets, and it also unlocked extra science specialization that's really, really cheap. We haven't unlocked Mediterranean yet, and I don't know that we really need to until we find a Mediterranean system we want to colonize. But yeah, this is a really important one that we're going to have to unlock at some point. Coming over here, and this is incredibly powerful for us because we have 20 planets in our main system plus a number of sanctuaries. And so this is just a huge amount of industry that, because we did all the footwork early to get the entire system colonized, this is super, super efficient. Like, super efficient. The rest of it is not as useful. Commercial frameworks gives us trade companies, but remember, trade companies are not as powerful on these guys. We do have a number of systems with gas planets. And our home system is also sterile and cold. So we would get 5 extra industry per population. As our population grows, this becomes more and more valuable. Something we should definitely consider. And last but not least, food. Food is just really, really good for us. But also, another unique building, which just gives us straight up good stuff. Also, colonize Baron. I think we're going to grab that because it's only going to take us 2 turns to get it. Right? I could... Why am I not able to click my mouse here all of a sudden? Yeah. I could do this, but that's going to take us 8 turns. So we'll actually have something in 2 turns the question is, do we really need it? This is also another really important one. 80% points required to unlock next hero on Empire. This will get us heroes faster. It's not that important on the choir unless you're ready to go military. Because you only ever have one system, you can only ever have one governor. So all of your other heroes end up becoming military heroes, and until you're ready to really pour yourself into the military, there's no sense in getting this. Like, getting heroes faster doesn't really help you at all. In fact, it costs you money, and if it's money you're not using very efficiently, then there's not a lot of point to it. So yeah, I think we'll go ahead and grab that next. The only other thing I can think of is maybe the food. But I think we'll go that next. Alright, next turn we'll have our hacking operation available. And we made it over here, and the reason I wanted to come over here was this. There's something over here in this lane that we haven't uncovered yet. I'll wait here for a turn. This ship should be able to come back through here and grab all of these. And all right. We have now acquired Fidus 1. How did we acquire an ash planet, you might ask? Well, I'll get to that in a second. The Gnos. We need to create a back door here. We have not done that yet, so let's go ahead and get that done. Okay. Faction assimilated. So this is how we got that done. I clicked on the wrong thing. That's been done. We got 150 dust for that. Alright, so here we go. Inhospitable. This planet hosts a sanctuary for your empire. What? Interesting. Why am I getting person of means, industrial refrain, soil healers, cyber farm? Oh, yeah, that's just from all of our buildings. We're above 200 now, and we now have 343 food per turn, so food is actually off the charts, which is good for us in the short term. And it's going to get better, because we haven't even built all the food buildings yet. Why is my food so good, actually? That is kind of curious. What is soil healers? Plus 100 food. That's gotta be... That's gotta be from grabbing the sowers, right? I mean, that's my guess. Alright. Also, this is a really efficient building because we have anomalies on every one of our planets, except for the starting one. And I know I keep calling them planets even though they are technically nexi, or whatever you want to call it. Each one of these is a nexus, right? At least that's what they used to be called. Crescents. Oh, this one's called the Nexus. These are just called crescents. Either way, you guys know what I mean. Alright, anything else that I want to do here? Not really. Let's check on our ships, though, I guess. And our one probe we can send off this direction. Keep moving our ship. The other ship can not grab this. Why? Oh, because this ship, like the other ones that we got for free, are garbage. That takes care of that. This is an ash and a gas planet. I need to get these unlocked. I'm not sure if I can actually put anybody on either of these right now. I think technically we can, but I'm not sure what our gathering rates are. It may be a situation like where you take some kind of penalty to your gathering rates when you don't have the technology but you actually own them. Okay. This ship has one probe, and it should throw it right down there at that last little gap. Oh yes. Let us not forget the hacking operations that must start taking place. So we can grab the Gano, or we can work on the pilgrims. We also have sanctuaries here we can grab. We have a sanctuary here we can grab. This is probably going to be the fastest to go, like, from here to here, right? 3 turns? Let's just do that. That's pretty quick. Alright. Technologies. This is a hero. Colonize and create an outpost on 2 unique planets in less than 30 turns. We have 1 of 2. Create a sanctuary here. I'm not sure if we actually literally just completed that quest the turn that we got it, but that is a possibility. More population. Deed Studier of Worlds. Be the first to have 8 colonized planets within your empire. Congratulations, you've achieved this reward. Well done. 75 Hyperium. Probably will fetch us a good price on the market when we need some dust, which we should look at. Also, objective achieved. We finally hit 67 bandwidth. That's because our population pip added a little bit more. We now have this, which means we just get extra dust if we have ships. One way to boost your science dramatically with this faction is just build a bunch of really cheap, crappy ships and load them out with bonus science. Alright. So, we can enlist her or we can unburden her. This gives XP per turn. This just gives us a new hero. I'm kind of not interested in a hero right now. Like I said, heroes are kind of pointless for the choir in the early game because really all you can do with them is military combat, and we don't really have any military combat to engage in. 2 experience per turn on heroes, though. Huh. Of course, I guess it does give us a hero that we can use as a scout. I'll go ahead and take the scout. We could use a 3rd one. But in order to do that, we're going to have to inhabit 2 more systems, one of which we've already begun hacking. And we found Ariga. And I got my ram scoops, so all of that's good stuff. Nice. I can actually get on that system. I can't quite get on Ariga. We need to take a moment to edit our ship design. We now have the ram scoops, and the distance traveled per point actually stacks. So we actually move 75% further than we normally would with 13 movement. So 13 movement plus 75% of that means we're actually moving something like 23, 21, 22 points, somewhere in that neighborhood. I've actually tested it on camera in one of my videos. It does stack. You can compare it to using like this engine, and you get further with 3 of those at 13 movement speed than you would like with like 1 of these and 2 of those. So like it does actually stack. Confirm. And then retrofit. Can I retrofit here? I can't. Did I not? I did not actually update. Let's try this again. Apply design. There we go. And now I should be able to retrofit, which I can. And that's good. And now we need a technology. And I'm thinking that this is probably the one, but we did need ash, and we also needed gas. I think this is still the right choice, though. It's going to take us a little while to get this unlocked, but that's fine. We've got a lot of other things that we need to get done anyways in the queue, so I'm not super worried about it. This should be done now. Seems like this is not getting done as fast as it should. Alright, and then we'll just kind of queue these up. Alright, we can now uncover this. And here's the nice thing. Because this is a sanctuary, I can actually retrofit this ship. And now we have super movement. And I can get pretty dang far in a single turn. One thing I don't know is if the stacking did maybe get nerfed. That's a possibility. It does make these engines ridiculously strong if they still stack the plus 25% movement speed. We're approaching turn 30, and we're also approaching 3 hours, so I think this is probably where I'm going to end this video. Looks like we got another hero. And morale bonus. Repair. Fleet after each phase. That sounds interesting, actually. Have 12 population in your empire, or reach at least level 3 on your home system. We're already at level 2. Both of these are going to happen pretty quickly, so it's really about which one of these would I want. I think this is actually the better module. Not that I'll probably use it, but that's fine. We have 4 points to assign on this hero, and again, all heroes from this point on are not going to be governors, so hopefully there is enough fleet and ship attributes That's what we'll do for him. And then his ship is going to need 1, 2, 3 engines to keep up with my scout ships. But if I do that, unfortunately, he is not going to be able to use any probes. Do I care about that? I kind of do. Mostly because I don't have any other use for it. he's just got to be able to use probes, right? That's all he's out here doing. I guess we could like fly around and shoot down pirates, but him by himself is not going to be enough to shoot down pirates with the tech that we have. Weapon modules can probably stay the same. The other option is we just make him a ship that doesn't move at all. Just kind of sit him outside of our base. Oh, is this limited? You can't equip more than one of these. Okay. I mean, just 10 free science every turn. Maybe throw some shields on him. Yeah, this is probably fine. Do I even want to put probes on him? I don't think I do. We'll just like make him sort of a ship that sits outside our base and shoots stuff down. Alright, where do I want him? Well, there's pirates over here. So I could like spawn him on ISO and try to shoot down those pirates. Maybe that's what I do. Assign to system, create fleets on ISO. Alright, cool. He's over here and he's cloaked. If I uncloak him, yeah, let's do this. I can fly all the way over here in a single turn. And then I can uncloak him and barricade, or blockade, and we can intercept this guy. We should be able to take this guy down. Yeah, he's a really weak ship. Also, I don't see the pirates having the ability to detect cloak fleets yet, so we now have 7 population. And we've researched the last of our crescents, so that's good. Now it's just a matter of cranking through all of these. Endless Research Park is going to take 9 turns. We should definitely get that done, and I might even try to buy it out. One way to do that would be to go to the marketplace. And now we have a little bit of income on this, but no income on that, so we can sell all of that. Make a little bit of money there. I'm going to keep all of the Eden Incense because we're using it as a luxury booster. Strategic-wise, we could flood the market with strategics if we wanted to. I have a ton of this Hyperion, and we're making something like 5 or 6 a turn. No, I guess it's 4 a turn. But I could do something like 80. That's going to give us 2.2k. That is not enough to buy any of these out. Which is fine. The Endless Research Park will get done momentarily. We're at 90%, so we're still doing really good here, and I do have plenty of slots now, so overpopulation can come down if I need it to. Get all of our fleets moving. And because we're over here now, not 100% sure why I sent this ship over here. Alright, so we'll create a sanctuary here. I've got medium tundra and barren. This is going to give us potentially food. This gives us a bunch of science and some industry. Kind of torn. The medium planet's going to have more slots on it, and we can get them both. We are now at low manpower. This is the circumstance where when you get one too many sanctuaries up at a time, you start to get this message every turn for a while. Running all of these back doors. I didn't realize that back doors actually soaked up bandwidth. So does the beacon, actually. Transmigration beacon on NGC 205 is costing us 10 bandwidth. Each back door costs us 5. Interesting. We can go ahead and attack this pirate. I don't think there's any need to watch this. He's going to prefer medium range, so we're going to want to go to long range. Power to shields is going to add more shielding. Yeah, that's going to work out really well for us. Alright. We haven't actually
What can I do for you?
talked to these guys yet. But we can take a look at his next fleet, which is basically equally garbage. So in an effort to cut down on the pirate menace, I guess I can just fly this guy over here. And start a blockade. That's not really going to do much, but as soon as the pirate spawns in 6 turns, we'll be able to shoot him down. Alright, so one thing that I'm kind of regretting, we started working on this, and we'll keep the progress towards it, but I might actually jump over to this, because we need to be able to get out of this constellation at some point. So if I move him in front of the queue, that's only going to take 2 turns to finish, and that gives me something that I can immediately use, and that's probably what we should have done a little earlier. anything that you can immediately use is what you want to move up in the queue.